Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Read, Watch, Play. This is the show where we talk about comic books, we talk about what we watched or heard about, what rumors there are in superhero movies, TV shows, and media, and what did we play. I, as always, am your host, Tony Cox, and with me is...
Clifford Parmenter.
How are you, Cliff?
I'm all right.
Awesome.
It was a long, long weekend.
A long, long weekend?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was cool. You know, my mother got to celebrate her birthday like 18 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it was your mother's birthday.
It was my brother's birthday.
Happy
last
birthday,
week.
Mom.
Yes. And, no, it was funny. Like, her best friend was in town, and they had lunch. And then my other friend's mom took her out to the casino. And then she had a birthday dinner on Friday. And then one of her best friends had her own birthday party on Saturday at this lovely 5-star restaurant where we live, right? And then
You live in a 5-star restaurant?
in the area we live.
Oh, in the area you live.
I wish I lived in a 5-star restaurant, although I can cook a 5-star meal. So
Really?
I'm pretty good.
How come you haven't cooked a 5-star meal for me?
You got to earn it. So Chris is higher up that list. So anyhow, Sunday, I forgot who took her out to dinner. It kept
Another dinner?
Yeah, and then
So how many dinners?
Oh, brunch. There was brunch on Sunday too, and brunch was like 3 hours. So they went to this Buttermilk Farms place, right? Which is like really like has like a reputation and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom is like, okay, well this should be really good. And then like the service was like 3-4 hours long. Like they got there at 1 for the reservation, and they left there at like 4:30 when they were finally done eating everything. And
I mean, it didn't take long. It was that they were being served throughout that whole time.
Yes,
Yeah.
but like that took long.
A lot of courses.
My mom is like, is there only like one chef in there? And like, is he making like everything for everybody, like from scratch? So anyhow, at least it was good, but it was just like, oh my god, like she's like the only reason I'm not going back for brunch is it took way too long.
Wow.
You know, but the food was good, and right, which led to us like not really us having like a late dinner. Monday, I took her to Bonefish Grill, and that was that.
Great.
Which worked out nicely.
Yeah, my kids woke me up at 5 a.m. this morning. And
Always rewarding.
And then they promptly went back to sleep.
Right, because you know that's how children are.
Because I should say they woke me up in bed. They crawled into bed and woke me up, and so I've been up since 5. So it's been a long day for me. And Wednesday is normally a long day for me anyway because I get to work at 9 in the morning, and then I don't leave work until 9 at night. So.
But you live here, so it's good.
I live right next door, literally right next door.
I mean, you want to talk about living somewhere. I wish I lived at the 5-star restaurant. You live
Yes.
You live on top
I
of
live
your
at a
job.
5-star gaming.
Yes, a
gaming
5-star
store.
gaming.
5-star gaming store.
That's right.
So I did finish The Tick. So I did want to mention that.
Did you love it the way I loved it?
I really liked it. I really
I'm
enjoyed
so
it.
glad.
We were talking earlier. I really feel like it's a very well done dark dramedy.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see where it goes in the next season. Yeah. So
and like from what we were talking earlier, like my one point is I like that even the terror, like the primary, like let's just wreck everything villain, still has like a little bit of humanity, even if it's only for Miss Lynch.
Yeah, I love Miss Lynch. She's probably one of my favorite characters in the show. Yeah. So
because she is a great villain, and she's a great villain full of personality. Like remember when she was pretending to be a girl from work?
Oh yeah, like his friend, Arthur's friend.
Yeah, like Arthur's.
And she had like a normal eye and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
it was
like,
so great.
And she shows up at his dad's birthday.
It was oh my god, yeah, his stepdad's birthday. So it's just full of awkward. I like that his stepdad like actually enjoyed superheroes. And like that actually made the Tick feel really good and welcome.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So
but like it was such an interesting show. That was a great episode just by itself.
You know? It was really cool because you got to see a little bit more of like Arthur's backstory and like how his like mental issues that he supposedly has, like have come into being. But that was really good. I also watched. Have you ever seen The Expanse?
Yes, it's very good.
Just watched the first season of The Expanse.
Yeah.
And I very much enjoyed that. Thomas Jane is really good in that.
Oh my God, Thomas Jane is just great.
I love Thomas Jane in a lot of stuff he does.
But I think for those of you who need a sci-fi show, I think it's The Expanse.
It's like I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica fan. The reboot 2004, 2003, 2004.
I'll be honest, I like this better.
Adam is currently watching it and is loving it.
He's been Are you loving it? It's about time, because we've been talking about you watching that Battlestar for like months.
Yeah. He's finally watching it. You're almost halfway through the second season. And we talk every day. He comes in. I'm like, did you watch it? Did you watch another episode? Did you watch another episode?
Please tell me you watched 2 more. You know?
Yeah. So he's going to go home and watch more tonight, right? Yeah. He's giving us the thumbs up. So, but The Expanse is really great, and the science in that is very accurate. Inertia. It's the first space show I've ever seen where they actually deal with inertia when like the ships are moving and doing burns and like going from point A to point B, and they really handle that like very accurately. And I've actually heard from scientists who are consultants for sci-fi shows that The Expanse gets a lot of it right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I when you're dealing with sci-fi, there always has to be a little bit of super science to play with, because we don't know, we haven't gone out there and done it.
Yeah.
You know, but I love like even with Star Trek, I love that like the fact that the Enterprise, you know, is like fully functioning based on if we ever get this fictional power source, we can build one.
Yeah.
You know, like I like that. Or even Robotech. Right? Like that guy was like an architect and an engineer. He's like, well, if we ever got a proper power source, you could build one of these robots. Like I always like that. So yeah, The Expanse is freaking awesome.
So this is welcome to Cliff and Tony talk sci-fi TV shows.
Yeah.
So
we're supposed to. Well, this is our introduction.
Yeah. So let's jump into what did we read. We'll get right into the comic books that we read this week, and I think all of them are from this week, right? That released today.
They're all from this week.
All right. So spoiler alert. We're gonna tell you what happens in them, and we're gonna run through about 6 of them, and then we're gonna give you some rapid fire woos and boos.
Yes.
So let's get started. First up is gonna be Superman number 30.
Yeah.
And this is the continuation of.
What a great cover.
Such a really great cover.
Really great cover. That's like, Doug Menke, and it's just freaking awesome.
Superman looks amazing.
Yeah.
With Sinestro Corps colors and everything. So last time we saw, correct me if I'm wrong, but Superman gets a Yellow Lantern ring.
No, Superman absorbed Parallax.
Oh, he absorbs Parallax. That's right.
Yeah, he allowed Parallax
he's being
to take
possessed.
over. Yeah.
He's possessed by Parallax, and then Sinestro shows up, which as you mentioned,
we haven't seen him.
We haven't seen him since the Rebirth.
Yeah.
So this is a new reveal.
Yep.
And so what happens next?
So one disappointment for me is they are already mid-battle when this issue opens, and they crash into Cord, and basically this is Sinestro's big trap for Parallax. And then the story proceeds from there, and then the story is a Sinestro story from there.
Oh, really?
You know, and this very much builds to whatever we're going to see next for Sinestro, which I think is great. So yeah, like they get to Cord, and the Cordians are all there with like their their lightning bearers. Mm-hmm. You know, like the weaponer from Heroclix. Like you know what it looks like, right? So they all just like bash like Parallax Superman with the lightning rods and like knock him out. And when he awakens, he's just in Sinestro's trap. And, you know, he talks smack to Sinestro when he was conscious, I'm sorry. He's like, oh, you made me feel small, Sinestro. You know, you made me feel that fear. It's like, but that's okay, because all it did is help feed me, you know? And, you know, now I'm going to make you feel that way. He goes, even you're not without fear. So they go through the whole thing, and he takes him down, because Sinestro's still a little bit of a genius, even though he's crazy. Yeah. And so he's got super Parallax all, you know, mangled up in this thing. And it's Cord, so there's no, like, yellow sun and all that other stuff to help out. So he's trying to draw Parallax out. So, like, he goes inside Superman. He uses his ring to, like, go inside Superman's subconscious mind to, like, see all Superman's fears. And it's mostly just variations of Lois dying and innocent people screaming to death because Superman promised to save them, but he didn't get there in time. And, you know, and then while he's doing that, Lysa Drac is there, by the way.
Okay.
And so she jumps.
Which is Sinestro's daughter. Right?
No.
Oh no. That's
Liza Trek is the one who's dark, who's like Black Lantern, Yellow Lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so, right now. By the way, also, she's from the same race as Shadowlass from Legion of Superheroes, so that always like trips me out.
Gotcha.
You know, because I'm like, oh my god, it was like, is she like Shadowlass's like ancestor? Only she's like horrible and evil. So anyhow, so she like jumps on Sinestro. Sinestro's like, oh, Parallax, I know it's you, and then traps her. And then one of the Accordions starts talking smack, and he goes, okay, now you jump to Accordion, and he's like, I can go anywhere there's fear. And so they go through this whole rigmarole, and until eventually, like, Sinestro
in the subconscious.
No, they went from the subconscious to the physical around him because like he was like trying to go through Superman's fears, so Parallax jumped out, right?
Oh, and Parallax is going.
Right. So Parallax is going all around. So finally, he gets a wrangle on Parallax, right? And he's like, okay, I accomplished what I came here for. He's like, Superman has all this power and none of the will to make a difference. He could stay here and die for all I care. Let's go. So him and his remaining crew just take off. As Superman, who of course, solar cells do absorb quite a bit of energy and keep him strong, finally becomes conscious again, and it's like, no. Breaks out of there, goes flying after, doesn't go immediately after Sinestro, right? Like formulates a plan, then goes after Sinestro in space, and it was like, hey, and then just like beats on him, and he's just like, what did you think, Sinestro? Like, I'm just gonna let you walk away. I'm just gonna let you walk away with Parallax. He's like, I'm taking that ring. I'm taking it back to Oa. Right? I'm gonna let them deal with this. So he's like, you want to know about Will? And he just starts fighting Sinestro, and then just takes that freaking ring, and he's like, Parallax, I let you possess me. I am afraid of a lot of things, but I am not afraid of you. And then Superman takes off with the ring, and Sinestro's just like, you don't know the enemy you made today, Superman.
Wow.
And it's a horrible night. And keep in mind, this all started with a bunch of missing children. So Superman does his thing. This was a great issue, obviously. Superman does his thing. He comes home to Lois. Their son is in bed. Oh, one of Superman's greatest fears is John saying, "You're no father." Is John blasting him with heat vision and being like, "You're no father of mine. You were never there. You were too busy saving everyone else."
Wow.
So he's just standing in John's bedroom, like looking at him sleep. And Lois is like, "You had a really rough night." And he goes, "Yep." And she goes, "I saw all the children I saw the morning news. All the children were returned." He goes, "They were." And she's like, "Do you want me to like make breakfast?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I just want to stand here a moment." And he's just watching John sleep. And it was just like, it hit the feels properly. It was a great issue. Big freaking woo for me.
Big woo?
Yeah, I thought this was good. And, I mean, obviously I glossed over things. This was a good Sinestro story. And whatever they're going to do with him next, I thought this was a good build. And I like shaking things up in the DC universe. Like Zod fighting the Suicide Squad was cool. Sinestro being like, what is going on here? What's Superman doing with my Parallax? It was a good time.
All right, let's get on to, this is Justice League issue number 28.
Yes.
What a great cover.
It's Legacy Part 3.
Oh, right. This is Aquaman with the cyborg parts.
And a Black Lantern ring.
And a Black Lantern ring.
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't it such a great cover?
That is an amazing
cover. It looks
cover.
awesome. Can you imagine what kind of battle took place inside the issue?
It didn't, did it?
Nope, not at all. So what happened?
Oh, bait and switch, guys.
So what happened in the comic is last issue, Aquaman showed up and took out Batman. Okay? Yeah. Which, of course, is brilliant because the first person you should always want to take out, Mr. He Has a Million Plans,
is Batman.
Right. Because Batman's the worst Mary Sue ever. Sorry if you're offended. So, like, it's like, you insufferable Mary Sue. You need to go down first.
Tower of Babel? Is that the graphic novel that's
where Batman's
he's got all the files. He's got all the files.
Right, and Ra's
Justice League
against the League, including Batman.
Yeah,
because that was the best thing ever. How do you distract Batman? How do you do that? Let's just rob his parents' graves and let's just see how he reacts to that. Tell me that that's not brilliant. And then even better, that they're tangling over a Lazarus pit when Batman freaking gets there. Yeah. So good.
All right.
Good. Neither here nor there. So anyhow, we know Aquaman's back. This issue doesn't touch it. It opens with the Kent house, the new Kent farmhouse, where they raise John, and Hunter is with them. And Superman offered him a place to stay. Well,
now Hunter is
Wonder Woman's son
and,
from the future.
And Superman's son.
Nope, he's Superman's adopted son because Wonder Woman abandoned him after she had a boy.
Oh, okay.
So, actually, there's something really cool happening. So, Hunter and John are getting along, but Hunter clearly seems like still disturbed as a visitor from the future. Lois consents it. Superman consents it. They have their little talk about it. I'm very proud of Brian Hitch for really handling the Superman-Lois dynamic here because it doesn't feel, they don't feel any different than when you're reading Superman's title and when Tomasi's writing them. And I appreciate that. I love that there was still, that cool. The dynamics were in check. Yeah. The only thing that seems really off is Wonder Woman, but this issue really helps a little bit. Because last issue she was just all too beside herself and quiet because Hunter is like, look, I'm touching your lasso. It's the truth. You abandoned me because I wasn't a girl, And Wonder Woman is just like, and to me, like that's just not Wonder Woman. So what's that about? But this issue adjust. Serenity leaves with Mara, and of course they can't go back into Atlantis, so they just hang out by the ocean. Okay. And she goes, "This isn't right." She's like, "This is another time, another place." She's like, "You're not even my mother yet. You may never even become my mother." And she goes, "It doesn't matter because tonight I'm your mother." And then she just holds her. And it's nice to see this very different side of Mara because we really just see, kick butt. I'm a fighter. I'm a survivor, Mara. And I like to see that, I too could be a mother one day, Mara. But it's good. That was good use. And then at Barry's apartment, Barry and Jessica hanging out with their future kids. Jessica Cruz, the latest Green Lantern. So she's like, her twins go to bed. They're the ones that can access the whole emotional spectrum, like genetically, right? So they go to bed and they're glowing blue while they're sleeping in bed. And their sister Cruz, the Flash, the daughter Flash, or the speedster daughter, is like, oh, they've never glowed blue before. I've never seen this. She goes, this is like the first time they've ever experienced hope, And then Jessica's like, I hope it's not the last time, and then hugs her, and then she hugs the Flash, and then he's like, do you ever run out of energy? She goes, no, I don't really, and she's hugging him on the couch, and then she just falls asleep on top of him, and he goes, she even falls asleep fast, like, this is incredible. And Jessica's sitting there, he's like, Jessica, do you really think, like, this is us, like, this is going to happen? Because, like, at this point in time, he doesn't have any romantic intentions with Jessica. And she's like, I don't know, but maybe I'd like it to be. And she, like, holds his hand. So he's, like, sitting here, Cruz is on top of him, and she's, like, holding his hand to the side, because she really likes the kids. And then Cyborg and his son are hanging out and connecting with Cyborg's dad. And Cyborg's dad is, like, really tactless. He's just not an emotional guy. He does love his son, and they've gotten over their boundaries, but he has zero social grace, right? And then, like, so the grandson is, like, really kind of giving him the business, and he's like, see, Dad, he got his social graces from you, which is great. Wow. And he's like, you combined with Cyborg? And he goes, yeah. He goes, Dad and I used to do it all the time in the future. And he goes, and I can still talk to Dad because I have Dad's software inside of me. And he goes, and that's more than all the others could say. They have no way to communicate with their parents. And he's like, do you want to merge now? And he's like, I like that very much. And the two of them connect and merge, Cyborg and his son, Cube. Wow. And so they do that. And Wonder Woman is like, what's his name? Is the other Green Lantern, Simon. Simon's like investigating a bunch of stuff because, it's like, these kids, the future. Plus there's that huge incident that happened in part 1 of this, and there's no answers for that incident. All we know is, like, that incident is kind of nasty and ties into all this. All these people killed each other in this town. Yeah. So he's, like, trying to do some research behind it, and Wonder Woman's trying to do deeper research, right? So Wonder Woman goes to the Justice League computer, Genie, right, and starts asking it questions about all their new adventures that they've had since Justice League Rebirth #1. When we encountered them, where was I? What happened? When we encountered the next one, where was I? What happened? When we encountered this, that, where was I? What happened? Put all the scenarios together, right? And Wonder Woman's like, this darkness, this threat, and I contribute to it in somehow, but no one could tell her why. She goes, what are they fighting? And are they fighting me? So she's coming to this conclusion on her own. right? And she talks about how she connected with the truth once she realized her life was a lie at the beginning of her rebirth story. Mm-hmm. So again, really good use of someone's plot from their own title.
Yeah.
So she figures this out, but Cube is merged with Cyborg at the time, and so he's accessing all of this. So he relays this information to Hunter, who's staying at Superman's house, and Hunter's like, then it's clear, our mission is to kill Wonder Woman, and that's our cliffhanger for this. Because Wonder Woman is deciding on her own, just talking to the computer, the AI in the fortress, that if somehow I have a part in all this, and I'm present for all the events leading up to this, what is happening, and, is it my fault? Am I the thing they're fighting? Like, she's drawing her own conclusions to piece it all together. That doesn't mean she's the villain, or that she's even the villain at this moment in time, or anything. But yeah, so they draw that conclusion. Good episode. Good episode, right? Good issue. Definitely a woo for me again.
I love it when comic books feel like an episode of television, because for me, Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run was very much. It felt like an episode every time.
Okay, so one of my favorite men, Joe Illich, who works as editor at Lion Forge, and did a lot of G.I. Joe writing and editing, and edited Batman even in the late '90s. He recently's like, I don't really talk about Marvel too much, but like he pulled a couple pages from Hawkeye, and he goes, this art tells a story. It's that scene with Kate like leaping out the window and making an escape, right? And it's just so clear what's happening. Yeah. And I'm like, that is my favorite Hawkeye story, and I want it to be a Netflix series so bad. And there was just a whole thread on how great this was, and all these people loved it, and I'm so glad. I am not like several people liked my comment and added to that comment because they're like, oh my, like of all the things I've ever read, why isn't this a Netflix series? Like very much in agreement.
Yeah, it's really good. You guys should definitely check it out. Hawkeye by Matt Fraction.
Yep.
It's in collected trades. It's fantastic. All right.
So good.
Moving on, later this month, Kingsman: The Golden Circle comes out, and we have this week Kingsman: The Red Diamond,
which is sequel to Kingsman: The Secret Service, the comic book, which differs from the movie heavily. Yes. And so this is the sequel to that, and of course we still live in a world that differs heavily. I'd love to know who the freaking villain is. Other than there's like the red diamond thing everywhere that we go. So Eggsy is still a member of the Secret Service. His Uncle Jack, we know that character. He really did die in the first series. He's still doing his job. He's still great at it. And there's so many funny things that happen. Like, oh, your camera in the car isn't on, because I intend to do things in the car that aren't for the camera, because he's going on a date, so like it was all like very cute and funny. But then of course he's in mission mode, so he pays this homeless guy an absorbent amount of money to continue to take his date out, and he's like, oh, it's a very fancy restaurant, you're gonna need this tie, here you go. But the guy was a Navy SEAL. Yeah. So like he's like, no, I'll do anything for my country. He goes, good, then tonight you're taking this girl to dinner, here you go. Wow. And but I mean it was very nice because like the guy overheard like the secret mission notes and was like really concerned. He goes, no, I've served my country, the Navy, blah blah blah. And he's like, okay, you'll serve your country tonight, take this girl to dinner. And then of course he goes on his mission and he saves he's Greek and an English prince. I forgot exactly who, but yeah, so he does rescue him, but then the guy just talks about, oh, all of them, they're scum, get me away from them, blah blah blah, and so he just decks him right in the face. So the head of the Kingsmen is like, dude, chill. But of course very sophisticated. Yeah. He's like, ever since you lost your Uncle Jack, he goes, you've enjoyed all the privileges. He goes, you've done an amazing job. He goes, but there's this one thing about you that won't change. And he goes, and maybe I don't want to change it because, I think it makes you a great agent. He goes, but you can't go around punching royalty. And he goes, and I have to do something about you. He's like, so you're going to take a leave of absence. He goes, you're punishing me. He goes, you're taking a leave of absence. You have your unlimited credit card. You can do whatever you want. Go somewhere and do something for yourself. Right? So what does he choose to do? He goes to see his mom back at home. And what did she do after he became super awesome Secret Service guy? She moved in back to the tenement building they used to live in with his little brother. what you're looking at there. And he goes, why, Mom? Why did you do this? She goes, because of the way people looked at me and the way that they talked to me. You know, like I didn't belong there and I didn't feel like I belonged there. She goes, I'm here and no one cares. Everybody here knows me and your brother, and that's fine. And I thought that was sweet and a little bit rough.
Yeah.
And then he stays at home with his little brother, who's been sick in all the panels, right? And then, of course, when they're finally alone, he just vomits all over him.
Yay.
In the meantime, our secret villain, whomever he is, still wants to clean up the world. Now, if you remember the plot of the first movie, it was all about let's get rid of the trash, keep all the wealthy people, right? This villain is like, nope, the wealthy people are toxic, and let's kill them all and save the rest of the world. So it's so it has a really dark ending there, and of course we don't know who the villain is.
So this is not written by Mark Miller.
No, but it is. But if you read all the credits, it's still part of the Marvel universe. Now, what's interesting about this, if I'm gonna go into massive conjecture here, right? I believe we're doing more Kingsman stories, so there's more for that movie verse to work with because that's already its own package deal, right? So that's kind of cool. And really, the only sequel there's been to the Kingsman so far is the movie we're getting and this comic. So,
well, wasn't there a second comic series?
This is the second comic series.
No, I thought there was another one.
Nope, this is it because this picks up talking about how he's been since.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah. So the only sequel we have is that movie and this, and I'd love to see where they're going to go with all of that. But yes, the little Marv publication universe is in the is in there.
So, Woo Boo.
Oh yeah, Woo. I mean, you know, it's written by Rob Williams, and I mean, it's good. Like it felt right. You know, the usual R-rated kind of material that Miller would have written himself. Yeah. So like, it didn't feel off. Okay. You know. Cool. So maybe he's overseeing it a little bit from a distance. I mean, it's his product.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to the Marvel Universe, and I read Darth Vader issue number 5, and holy cow, this story is off the hook. Okay, big spoiler alert. I'm gonna spoil something big in this. So as we know, Vader is on his mission to get his kyber crystal for his lightsaber, and he has to steal it from a Jedi. He has to kill a Jedi, steal the lightsaber, and then make his lightsaber out of that crystal.
Which he's done so far. He's killed the
Jedi.
And he took the crystal.
He took the lightsaber, the whole lightsaber, and he gets in his shuttle, and the Emperor's voice comes over and says, "I've instructed the robot to take the shuttle to a specific place where you're going to complete your mission, and that place is Mustafar, where Vader and Obi-Wan fought,
and his greatest
defeat, and he said, and Palpatine says there is a darkness within Mustafar, and it's gonna rebuild you, and you're gonna rise where you fell." And
why isn't this a movie, right?
It's really good, and there's a lot of good argument for a Darth Vader movie because we have never had, like, the prequels were supposed to be a movie about Darth Vader, but they really weren't very well done, and so
especially not in that sense.
Yeah, so there's a lot to explore here in this character still, and so he gets the kyber crystal, he goes to Mustafar, he goes to this little cave, and he sets it, and Palpatine says, "Teach the crystal your pain, make it bleed," meaning make it turn red through your pain. And so he starts to do that, and then all of a sudden it doesn't turn red, it stays green, and he says, "What have I done?" And then it cuts to Vader going to Palpatine's office in Coruscant, and Palpatine says, let me see your choice, and he ignites the lightsaber, and it's green, and Palpatine says, "So you've chosen weakness." And then Palpatine jumps up out of his chair, whips out his lightsaber, and then they go at it. And Palpatine starts ridiculing him and telling him what a waste of time it is. And Vader says, I agree, and he kills him. He kills Palpatine. He kills Palpatine.
I want to believe it, but we've all seen the movies.
So then, cut back to he's still in the cave, and this is a vision that he has. And then he says, he grabs the crystal and he says, no, I'm stronger than this. Or I'm stronger than that. And he grabs the crystal, and then he forces his pain into the crystal. He thinks about his mother dying. He thinks about Obi-Wan defeating him, Padme dying. He thinks about all that stuff, and he forces the pain into the crystal. And sure enough, when he opens his hand, the crystal is bleeding. It's red. It's a red crystal. And then cut to, he walks into Palpatine's office, and Tarkin is there talking to him about a certain weapon, and certain projects going on. And then the next thing you see is Vader's bodyguards slam against the window. And Vader walks in, and then Palpatine says, leave the two of us. And Tarkin's like, are you sure? But you're safe. And he goes, I am safe, Tarkin. Leave. And so the bodyguards and Tarkin leave. And then he says, show it to me. He whips out the lightsaber, ignites it, and it's red. And Palpatine's pleased. And I think that's where this one ends. But it's... And Vader's like, I mean, he's got the cracked eye. He's got one leg is from the droid. I mean, he's not in great shape, but he went to Mustafar, which is where his future castle will be, as we saw in Rogue One.
Yes,
is on Mustafar,
which was something only discussed in the extended universe prior to.
Well, no, actually, yes, but there was in fact concept art from the original trilogy for that castle. And that castle comes from Ralph McQuarrie or Christopher McQuarrie. I always get them confused. One's the director and one's the artist. I think it's Ralph McQuarrie. Ralph McQuarrie's concept art for the original trilogy. And so, great. This whole series is great. It's been fantastic. Seeing Vader through this lens and seeing him rise to his place that we know him in A New Hope at the end of Rogue One has just been fantastic. So, huge woo for me. So staying within the Star Wars universe, today also saw the release of Star Wars Captain Phasma, and this is part of the Journey to the Last Jedi.
What a cool looking cover.
It's a great cover. It picks up literally after she's been thrown in the trash compactor from the last time we see her in The Force Awakens. And the first thing she... By the way, so let's just say, very underused character in The Force Awakens. They really built her up beforehand. She's utterly useless in The Force Awakens. And then, when she is used, she's shown to be weak and just lackluster.
I don't even want to say weak. When they showed her in a compromised position.
I know, but like everything that's informed us of the character...
Right, she's a badass.
Up until that point... It's unbelievable to me that she would just...
I just want you to know, and I told you this before, I am hoping and praying that this is just like we sit and wait until the reveal that she has her own agenda that she's following.
So either that or, and what I think is the more likely scenario, and I just thought of this, is that she is so overconfident in the First Order's ability that bringing the shields down isn't going to matter. There's still
in her mind, it didn't matter.
In her mind,
until that sucker,
they're still going to die.
Until that sucker started blowing apart.
Yeah. So what happens in this is she gets out of the trash compactor, and the very first thing she does, she goes to the computer console and she deletes the record of her bringing the shield down. So then I'm thinking, okay, well, she's covering her tracks, which again doesn't really feel like her.
Unless I'm right and she has her own agenda.
That, or again, if she's so overconfident, she thinks that Starkiller Base is still going to be around for somebody to even check the files.
Star Wars technology is weird. Like the files could be around.
No, you mean
Star
after
Wars.
the after
Yeah,
after
after,
the
yeah.
after the
I mean,
destruction
because
of the
like
circular
when we
base?
look at what their technology is like at the time of Rogue One, it's like, good lord, the technology is so clunky.
Yeah.
Right? It's like futuristic and clunky at the same time. Yeah. And then at her point in time, I mean, maybe it's less clunky.
So then she changes the records to accuse somebody else, like some lieutenant or something. And then she makes it her, and then she's doing a log. She's doing a log about the final moments of Starkiller Base. And then in her log, she says, I've discovered that this guy is responsible for bringing down the shields and the destruction of the base. I'm going to go after him. So then she hunts him down, and it takes her, over Starkiller Base, and she finds him, and then she goes after him, and he escapes. And then she's running through the woods, and what does she see when she's running through the woods?
The battle.
She sees Kylo Ren and Rey fighting. And instead of, like, stopping to help...
Yeah, or at least going, what is this?
Yeah, she's just like, oh, look at them. Oh, all right, I'm going to go over here. And
again, implications of personal agenda.
I guess. So...
I see you, so my argument is, we haven't seen enough of her in the movie, so therefore whoever's going to write about her is going to be shackled.
Well, and there's a novel coming out too if it's not already released.
Right, and see, that bothers me because I still believe it's the same thing. It's like, interesting novel, the character's really shackled.
Now I do know that when after they realized that Phasma was popular, her and Rian Johnson, the director of Episode 8, The Last Jedi, really sat down and fleshed out the character for the movie, for The Last Jedi.
So you're right. I have high hopes that there's
a story
for her.
I will tell you this. There is every indication that she does not remove her helmet in Episode 8.
That's okay.
I guess.
But I want her to be... You know what? You don't need to take off that mask, because the real trick is to tell us a freaking story.
This is true.
That's all. If they give us that hat trick, I am in. Okay? I think we've had countless movies prove to us that although to connect a humanity to the character, the mask has to come off. Spider-Man 2 is a good example of this, right? But sometimes the ultimate challenge to tell you a story is limited visuals. And
that's true. I don't disagree with that. I don't agree.
Dude, I'm with you. I want it to be great. I want to love it.
So she ends up chasing this guy to a hangar. She then jumps in. The guy escapes in a TIE fighter. She jumps in another TIE fighter with another pilot and a black BB unit, and takes off after him. And that's where we're at the end of this.
And then of course the planet blows up, so there's no going back.
Exactly. And then Starkiller Base blows up behind her. So that's where we are with this. I'll pick up the next issue and see where it goes. I want more from this character, and I hope that they're gonna deliver that for us.
I hope. I feel this is a direct contrast to what you're getting with the Vader book.
It is,
because the Vader book, we know this character. This story takes place before,
and it should be the opposite, because this is such a fresh, untouched character.
Right,
you have the freedom to do all this stuff.
But I really believe, I'm not coming. And the reason I'm coming with you with this perspective is because this has happened with other properties in the past. Where it's like, oh, we can't reveal too much of what's going. Poe Dameron's comic is a perfect example of this. We get a great telling of his childhood. Right? Because that's safe. And then that's it. As soon as he's like late teen, adult, the shackles are back on the character, and the comic takes a dip.
So it's a soft move for me right now. I'm anxious to see the next one. So.
Good.
Sticking in the Marvel universe, you read Generations: The Iron.
Yes, Iron Man, Ironheart. So far in our Generation comics, our heroes of the present, we've watched them take a little trip to the past, right? And all sorts of weird things, including our buddy there, Jane Foster Thor, show up for an Asgardian battle against, Apocalypse, which was really crazy. In this case, Riri Williams finds herself suddenly and mysteriously in future Chicago rather than the Chicago of the present. And the future Chicago she's in is, if any of you are familiar with Avenger... Oh, man. The Age of Ultron cartoon, where it's the children of the Avengers who exist. and an older Tony Stark. That's where she ends up. So of course the kids are running around. They're like, "We're the Mighty Avengers," and Black Panther is like totally like making eyes at her, which is totally making her uncomfortable. Or she calls him Black Panther Jr. And then she awakens, in Stark Tower, which of course is like Stark Tower and also the new home of Doctor Strange, because Tony Stark is also the Sorcerer Supreme. He's 126 years old. So they have this great conversation. I really like this version of Tony because it's like Tony, the genius, the father, the mystic, and it's just very interesting. And the art is really good and beautiful visual effects. Like every page is like striking. Instead of like a traditional panels, it's like striking rows and swirling arts because of course that mystical nature. Like hold that one up. Like that's beautifully done, don't you think?
Just imagine the clear parts are green.
Yeah. But like it's cool.
Really
that's
nice.
right. The green, the background. So anyhow, it's a great story, and she's seeing what a lovely future it is, and she's like telling her Sue to like back everything up. And of course he's like, well, I didn't want to show you this, but like we're also at war. And of course, my favorite villain to show up when you think that all villains are taken care of, all the powerful villains out there are taken care of. If you read the Age of Ultron comic, you know who I'm talking about, and it's Morgan Le Fay. And he doesn't even have to fight her. He's like, I've got this crystal. Don't invade the Earth. Stay away. You know what I'll do to you. Done. And Riri's like, what was that? He goes, I told you, I don't want to lift he goes, I got tired of having my face bashed in. I just don't even want to lift a finger when I fight anymore. And she goes, are you afraid you're going to turn to dust because you're 106? And he goes, yes, Riri, I'm afraid I'm going to get punched and turn to dust. So then he takes her to Franklin Richards, and they do mention the Fantastic Four. And then, of course, he introduces Franklin Richards as the third best thing Reed and Sue ever created. And so they start plotting on how to get her back home. And just as soon as they start planning on getting her back home, and they're convincing her that like there's great things for your future, Riri, and we can't tell you too much, but like please get excited about going back home, blah blah blah. So she is, because she's like the future's a pretty great place, and like they really minimize, like there's still people who do crime, whatever, but it's so minimal. Like she's so impressed with how the future turns out, so she's excited to get home and be a contributing force to that. So she vanishes on her own while the guys are talking about a way to send her back. And then, of course, she's back, and the Tony AI in her suit is back online, and it's freaking out because it's clear that she's been missing, but it can't, it's like, tell me everything. She's like, I can't tell you the future. And she goes home, and she starts building stuff, and it's like, what are you building? She's like, I built a friend for the future, and etc. So we got something to go on. And that was it. And I laughed, and it was cute, and like, I think this was my favorite one of the Generations ones.
Yeah?
Yeah, because like it made me laugh a lot and smile, and also how I am when it comes to future. I like positive outlooks. I like things where like, no, we don't have to be those guys. We can stop this garbage and we can do something better. And then of course the fact that the realism of it's not really perfect, it's better though. It's not all depressing. Yes, there's still people who commit crime. Yes, Morgan Le Fay still tries to invade. Yeah. But, we're not fighting nonstop amongst each other, fighting for valuable resources, all that stuff. Like Tony and everyone else took it on. He said that he offered money to all the best, people in the world working on future tech, right, at the time. And 22% of them all took him for a ride. And then the other 78% all delivered. And then they're flying over all these beautiful cities and constructions. So very big move for me on this one.
Awesome. All right, and our last comic from Marvel, I think, that we're going to talk about is Iceman #5.
I loved it. I don't like the art. The original artist is back. I love the artist from issue 4, but I love it. I freaking loved it. It was great. He told his parents that he was gay. They got into a serious argument about it. How do you know? Have you been with a woman? Did you try? Did you really try? All of it. Have you been with a man yet? Oh, there's still time. Well, what is there for us? You're already a mutant. You're not going to give us grandchildren. The whole shebang.
Wow.
And while this entire argument is taking place, Kitty is there for some of it, and Juggernaut is looking to enact revenge on on the students for something that took place in X-Men Gold. Wow. So Kitty comes back into the room, faces in, and she's like, we got a situation. All three of them, the two parents and Iceman, are like, what? And she's like, there's a Juggernaut situation? He's like, I'm going to take care of it. And she's like, you don't have to. He goes, no, I'm going to take care of it. So he takes off after Juggernaut. His parents start to leave, and Kitty goes after him. They're like, Kitty, you are a nice girl, but, like, just don't get involved, right? And she goes, you need to see this. And she gives them the letter that Iceman wrote to them to explain about his coming out, right? That he had never given them, of course. And while he battles Juggernaut in this fantastically epic battle, right? His parents read about his entire struggle with coming out. And of course, he takes out Juggernaut with a pro. And Juggernaut even thinks that he destroyed Iceman, right? He just breaks him. He's like, oh, what would Charles think? But Iceman has this new power where he can turn into freaking vapor and then reform. And that's what he did. And he came back with these huge freaking ice wings and everything. And then he made his ice golems to take down Juggernaut. And again, a fantastic way to remind us he is an Omega level mutant. And he just freaking, the ice golems wrapped Juggernaut out, took him out into the Hudson, froze him so that S.H.I.E.L.D. can come and get him.
Wow.
And he comes back to the Institute, and the only person sitting there while there's snowflakes coming down, as far as you can make it snow, he goes, that's not exactly what happened. And he's like, where's Mom? She's had enough today. He's like, Dad, I'm sorry. This is the way things are. Most important thing in that letter, he said, I see my friend Jean having a second chance, and I'm so happy for her. He goes, and I see another version of myself who's okay with who he is and how much happier he is. And that I thought was really brilliant. And his dad is holding the letter, and they have their little tete-a-tete, and he goes, he's like, okay, well, that's enough for today. And Bobby, I love you. And he's like, I love you too, Dad. And that's the issue. I couldn't have asked for anything more. It was completely emotional, extremely well written, and action packed. It was great.
That's awesome. It looks great.
It was great. Huge woo for me. And I know the first few issues were very bland for me. Yeah. And issue 4 is the one that snapped, and then now I'm in. Now I'm invested.
All right, so let's do a couple of rapid fire ones to wrap up the what did we read section. So I'm just going to hold up a comic. You tell me woo or boo.
Okay.
All right. Inhumans, Once and Future King #2.
Oh, woo. I did review #1, and it's fun. It takes place in the past, but it's good.
Iron Fist #7.
Shang-Chi is in it. There's some good battles and a lot of manipulation. Woo.
Bombshells United #1.
I shouldn't even have to say woo, and Marguerite Bennett wrote a great story. Great.
And then finally, Deathstroke Defiance. This is Deathstroke #23.
I'm going to have to say something about it. First off, it's a woo. Also, what takes place between his son and his ex-wife, awesome. They talk about Joey being gay, that she married that girl for no reason. And and then Deathstroke dealing with all these things going around, and because he was sleeping with that girl and all that messed up stuff, and of course they even managed to rescue somebody, and he gets into a violent fight with his daughter Rose, and we discover that his former IT guy is now Rose's husband. So yeah, guys, that's just a whole bunch of wildness in a nutshell, but it was a woo story, definitely good.
Awesome. All right.
And Bombshell's also great, and also featuring some very, very interesting characters who normally would not appear in the regular timeline, but do show up in Bombshells.
Very cool. All right, let's move on to what did we watch?
Which we didn't really watch anything.
We didn't really watch anything, but we do want to talk about a couple of news stories. Actually, we did kind of talk about what we watched in the introduction with the
little, yeah, that was good.
And that. So first up, a lot of major news coming out of the DC Extended Universe. And a lot of different movies that they've been talking about. This is a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio as the Joker, because apparently Martin Scorsese is going to be producing a Joker origin story, and Warner Brothers wants to court Leonardo DiCaprio to play the Joker in an origin story.
That's an Elseworld origin story from the way I'm reading things.
Yes. Now, along with this, we're hearing news that that Ben Affleck may not be the Batman in Matt Reeves' The Batman, due to scheduling conflicts with him directing,
which is blowing my
a
mind
movie
because
with his brother.
At one point in time, had Ben Affleck not already begun filming, Ben Affleck himself, while he had the title of director, released a clip of Deathstroke from that movie. I am flabbergasted because this doesn't make sense.
It wasn't a clip from the movie. It was a test. It was test.
I'm sorry. It was
a screen test.
It was a screen test, but it was a very high quality screen test. So I am flabbergasted, confused. I am furious because every report points back to Affleck not being Batman, and I'm like, is his life really this bad?
So we're also hearing that at first we heard Suicide Squad 2 was going to be fast tracked. Now we're hearing it's being delayed because of Will Smith's schedule. This is literally within a week. We heard it's being fast tracked, and now it's being delayed because of Will Smith's schedule.
That one of all of them is like more believable.
Then we're hearing that there's that the Gotham City Sirens movie from David Ayer is no longer on the table.
That's fine.
That is being turned into a
Birds of Prey?
No, a Harley Quinn Joker movie with the current Joker, Jared Leto, and Margot Robbie.
But again, the Martin Scorsese Joker, again, everything I read points to it as an Elseworlds film.
I understand that, but the thing is like, why are you building a universe of continuity, very similar to the way Marvel does, and then you're going to abandon it?
Well, no, this isn't abandoning it. I mean, they could stick the Elseworlds logo on this.
Right, but here's the thing: is that's great for comic book fans.
Yeah.
The 1% of moviegoers that are comic book fans, but for the general public, they're gonna assume that this goes to. They've been conditioned over the past 8 years, by Marvel.
It's called narration. You are a self-professed storyteller. You know damn well the movie opens. You can do text on a screen. You can have a narrator. There's a million effects to go.
I don't disagree with that, and you can make an amazing movie.
Right. This is not the world that you know.
But here's the thing: is that if you're gonna produce 2 movies a year,
well, it sounds like they're producing like 4 movies.
Look, I honestly don't think Warner Brothers knows what the hell they're doing.
Well, I've been saying that for a while.
The next movie we're getting after Aquaman is Shazam.
And we don't even have a Shazam yet. But we've had a Black Adam for 2 years.
Who's not even going to be in the movie.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Dude, you're doing
mayhem.
You're doing one of my faces.
I know, it's mayhem.
Don't do one of my faces.
So my thing is that if you're going to connect a universe in continuity, I, as a viewer, am going to get invested in it, and then you're going to drop a movie that isn't connected to that at all. I may not go see it. You better convince me to go see it.
I'm saying it's
perfect example. Are we talking about Inhumans right now?
Yeah, but see.
But are we talking about Inhumans?
It has everything wrong. Everything wrong with it.
Are we talking about it though?
Oh, right, because it's bad.
Are we reviewing Inhumans?
We will.
But are we right now? It came out in theaters on Friday. Are we reviewing
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it came out on Friday. Did we go see it?
No.
No, because we're not going to waste our money.
But no, I would have wasted my money. I just didn't even notice that it came out. Do you know what I'm wasting my money on this weekend?
I used to live down the street from Stephen King, by the way.
Haven't we all?
No, I mean, I literally live down the street.
Anyway,
I think that this is crazy. I think Warner... And here's the thing. All of these announcements are coming out 2 months before Justice League drops, which has had issues. Joss Whedon has just been given a writing credit, which means he must have rewrote a lot of that movie.
It was
everything he rewrote, he shot himself.
Of course.
So how much of this movie is Joss Whedon?
It could be 51%. How much percent do you have to rewrite to get to nail the writing credit?
The writing credit or the director's credit?
The writing credit. He's not getting the director's credit.
I think you have to. Yeah. I think you have to write 50%.
So maybe 50%. That's okay.
I'm saying it's okay, but the thing is that means that this movie has drastically changed.
And it probably should have.
Well, yes. However, is it going to fit together? My fear is that all of these announcements of non-continuity movies, different origin stories, what's coming down the pipeline is to distract us from a crappy Justice League movie.
Ooh, that's a good thought.
That is what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with they're like, oh yeah, Justice League is coming out, but we're gonna make movies that aren't tied to that continuity. The Batman, that's gonna take place in a different time and may not even be connected.
They already convinced. They
the
already
Joker,
corrected
not that.
The Joker one is very wild, very wild.
But the thing is, and at the same time, they're doing a Harley Quinn Joker. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like all of this stuff. What I'm hoping, the other thing is that they're just taking a look at these things, and then they're gonna pick, and that none of this stuff is really.
Because let me tell you, this combination here, that's big money. So, I'm willing to say if something's gonna go fast, it would probably be this.
It's not guaranteed big money.
It's pretty. Well, no,
it's not guaranteed.
Okay, actually, so the director and your actor would be the majority of your budget, and then you just need a good story, and it could be a moneymaker.
Right. Martin Scorsese is not directing this.
Oh, he's got to just be a producer.
He's
credits?
just the producer.
Oh,
In fact, Todd Phillips.
Oh my God, that sounds like garbage already.
Todd Phillips.
That sounds like hot garbage. Oh, this has to go. This has to go right immediately.
That's what I meant. Martin Scorsese's produced lots of movies that are crap.
Could you imagine if the reality is it's just a Cesar Romero bioflick? And we're just a bunch of pawns in a horrible game. Could you imagine? It was right, and then you'd want to see it, right?
Yeah. No, I guess somebody said something a couple of years ago. They said, "What if Gotham is just a prequel to the '66 Batman?"
That's what I said. That's what a wild takes place in the '90s prequel.
Yeah,
that's the way I feel about it.
All right.
Because the original chief at the beginning of the series, the little statue that he used to beat criminals with, to question them, it was called O'Hara, like Chief O'Hara. So there's so many. So if you watch the first season of Gotham, which is like wild but still a little bit contained, there's so
I've seen the first season of Gotham.
Right, but I mean, if you watch it again looking for Easter eggs, there's a million Batman 66 Easter eggs.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So what are your let's wrap up your thoughts on this DC stuff.
Hot garbage.
Yeah, I'm very concerned.
But I'm still looking forward to Justice League. There's a special place in my heart warming over that says, yes, Wonder Woman had such a positive and profound impact on these people that they're going to start giving me the characters I was hoping for. You know, and then there's the other part of me going, why are we messing with Ben Affleck? Don't mess with a good thing. And also Casey Affleck, I mean, I hope this doesn't hurt me in the future, but you ain't that good. You know? I mean, like, leave your brother alone. Let him do good things, and you just do those little films that you do that get Oscar nominations.
On that note, let's talk about something that has 0% freshness on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which, for those of you who fail to know how Rotten Tomatoes works, it is we take all the reviews out in the public, right? That's what Rotten Tomatoes does.
It's an aggregator.
And it's aggregated, and then it just produces the number. So the first 10 reviews in a series have all been 0.
Zeros.
Yes.
So that's like, basically, it's my understanding that they literally rate the review on a scale of 1 to 100, and then that's what goes into the fresh meter.
Yeah.
And this has 0, and that is why we did not drop $18 to $25 to go see this in IMAX.
I didn't drop it because I didn't even know it was happening.
If you did know, would you have gone to see it?
I might have made an effort.
Might have made an effort.
Well, because that way I could just sit here and go, it was hot garbage, and then just go on about how much hot garbage it was.
I will watch it when it comes out on ABC.
Of course. I'll watch it at home in HD.
Or more specifically when it comes out on Hulu. The next day.
Okay.
Or the week, whatever.
Well, I mean, I'll probably watch it live.
But, I don't have cable television.
Okay, some of us don't have those things.
I'm a cord cutter. Snip, snip.
Yeah, I want to be too, but it's too hard.
We just want to warn people that if you do go out and see it, it's probably not going to be great. And they don't necessarily treat the characters with respect. What is going on?
Yeah, I just want to get a better view of Black Bolt.
You. All right.
Oh, they're much better.
Welcome to Read, Watch, Play with Cliff and Black Bolt.
Yes.
All right. Speaking of that, let's move on to what did we play.
Come on back.
We've got to help me back. Help me back.
Woo!
Bumper cars with Cliff and Tony. So let me get back to my position. Here we go. So what did we play? We got a special treat for you tonight. Last week we did live play, a live game of the Mighty Thor release, and we're actually going to do the same thing again tonight because tonight is our Deadpool Merc Jet organized play event. 500 points. 250 points have to be from the What If set. And I just realized earlier today that I neglected to write Modern Age. So we might see some resources show up
God,
tonight.
no!
And I feel terrible. I built a Modern Age team. My team is all Punisher.
I'm going to bust out Supreme Intelligence again.
Well, that's Modern Age.
No, I know, but I mean, he's like the only thing I have that'll give me a shot.
I'm bringing.
It's Hakeem Thunder and the Runaways. Yes.
I'm bringing Iron Punisher from What If. I'm bringing the 003 Punisher from What If. I'm bringing the Punisher of S.H.I.E.L.D. and a Punisher Thug or Punisher S.H.I.E.L.D.
By the way, for everyone who
Two
talks,
of them, I think.
For everyone who talks smack about the What If set, it is like the most Punisher-centric set I have ever seen, and they're all savages. So it's just 12 attacks and 8 ranges, and it's a nightmare. Every time I go up against those Punishers, I'm like, what does this one do?
Actually, there's 6 ranges, and only one of them has a 12 attack.
One of them has 8. Or does something gives them 8?
Possibly something gives them.
Yeah,
but anyway,
one of them is just
I'm
bad
still in the
news.
middle of saying what my team was.
No one really cares.
Then, I'm going to punish you, just so you know.
You will punish me. Ooh,
so then on top of that,
I'm not interested.
On top of that, I've got the Punisher van and the Punisher that goes with the van. And so that's and a Punisher serpent, a serpent Punisher, because and yeah, so we're gonna go to that soon. And you don't even know what your team is.
Nope. I'm just gonna get whatever I can out of the trunk out of my car.
Cool. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. But until then, enjoy some Heroclix playing.
Yes, absolutely. And maybe communicate with us. Tell us what you're reading and watching and playing.
Feedback is great. We'll see you guys next time. And here's some Heroclix.
You've passed that point.
I see.
Because sidestep is a free action, which happens during the action
So does
phase.
that even count with these old characters?
What do you mean?
Okay, so have leadership first.
Oh, hey, everybody. I'm playing a game here with Eric. We're playing our Deadpool Merc OP organized play. Well, that's what OP stands for. Event. Eric is playing Monsters, as he puts it, which is actually Monsters. And he had, because I got rid of it, Carnage. And he had a bunch of, Eric loves to print out these little symbiotes, these little paper ones. And then he's also got a couple of the figures from the Undead set, which is pretty cool. Dr. Frankenstein, Ghost, and Death. So we'll see how this game goes. I obviously am playing my Punisher team, and I've already lost my Serpent Punisher. So we'll see how this goes.
All right, so you're saying I now can't pick?
Don't forget to tell them where we are Sunday, Tony.
Yes, Sunday we're going to be at the Ultimate Comic Book Expo and Trade Show in Poughkeepsie, New York at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. So come stop by the Kerwin's Game Store booth and come say hi to Cliff and I. Hopefully we'll be doing a special broadcast live, but you'll have to keep an eye out.
Proceeds are benefiting the Highland Public Library of Highland, New York.
You're going to be over here the next round, so you can tell them all that.
I will tell them, Antonio.
All right, so you're saying I've passed the point of where I can pick his powers?
So the turn order now is turn sequence, beginning of turn phase, so that's when you would pick all your stuff. Action phase. So as soon as you give an action, free or otherwise, you've passed the beginning of turn phase.
So free actions are no longer allowed to be used during the beginning of the turn?
Correct.
I see. All right.
I mean, you can certainly take it back. It's fine because we're still in a learning process.
Sure.
But yes.
All right.
I wanted to make you sweat there for a little
Yes,
bit.
indeed.
it helps you stick in your mind when you
does,
can't take
does.
it back. So.
All right, so stealth and range, shape change and super senses, and then I'm going to clear.
All right. Let's do. Oh, you ran this guy up here. I see. So I need a 6 to break away. What are my targets? What are my targets? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He does not have stealth, correct?
He doesn't, but he's perplexed up from Dr. Frankenstein after he healed him.
On his defense?
Yeah,
Alright, so he'd be a 20 from range.
20 for range, yeah.
12 on
I think opening up might be a trick.
You stop, make the attack, and then roll breakaway move afterwards.
You still get plus 2 for it.
Yeah. But it also isn't completely screwed over by plasticity anymore.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This attack damage and range values of those.
Makes it so I ignore shape change. Plus 1 range and ignore the opponent's shape change.
Attack or damage power. That's fine. I think I can handle that. All right. Free action. Free action the van to take the attack range and damage value.
That was another
And
five.
then this is awkward. Oh, I can't get away. Still be adjacent to him.
13 out of 17.
Oh, actually, no, I can turn sideways.
Going higher now.
That's because I would be adjacent to him.
Small victories.
Oh, no, I can't. Okay. Alright, I'm going to running shot, carry. It doesn't subtract.
Because otherwise I wouldn't be able to see it through that.
Because he's a
Because he's a vehicle.
Yeah, gotcha.
Vehicles can use carry ability. Whenever they use the carry ability, do not modify their speed value when using it.
That's why I healed the one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna run shot carry. Carry this guy.
I think if you're in hindering,
Figure why not?
it doesn't- like if I was here, I wouldn't be hindered. But if I'm in hindering, it's like the Colossus. Colossus are in hindering, they're hindered. If they're right across from it, they're not.
He's gonna running shot on Dr. Frankenstein.
Alright.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Alright, so it's 16.
So 11 on a 16
Yep.
for 2.
Alright, I think that's all she wrote. Yep.
We're gonna outweight your invincible.
Okay.
I'll just double check the shield's team ability.
Shape change.
Adjacent friendly characters modify range +1, power, choose an adjacent friendly character. Once this turn, the chosen character modifies its damage value +1 when making a range. Alright. So I'm gonna power action the shields, the Punisher of Shield.
Okay.
To give Iron Punisher +1 damage.
Okay.
And he's gonna be +2 range.
Close combat expert. +2 to hit. +1 to hit, +1 to damage.
Leadership.
11 on 18 for 3.
And the perplex goes away. Does the perplex go away?
I don't believe so. That's what I'm checking up right now because it says until your next turn. I'm on page 28. It has durations.
I'm wondering though if if one is KO'd. Choose a turn.
It says durations expire when the condition for ending them is met.
Power and ability, use durations 6. Just looking under the comprehensive rules. Rules of duration. When a character no longer meets the requirements to use an effect that was already activated that had a duration, the effect temporarily ends, but the duration time remains. If the character meets the requirements again before the duration expires, the effect reinstates. If the duration expires before the character gains back the effect ends and the character would need to reactivate the effect. That is completely contradictory to what they're telling us.
What was that?
Oh, hang on. A special power says perplex, but only if occupying water terrain. When the character uses this perplex, it must be in water terrain. However, if it later moves out of water terrain, it has the ability to use perplex. Oh, I see what it's saying. Heroclix players, that's time in the round, so go to the end of player 2's turn.
So on player 1, so it's player 2.
How many points? Up by 5.
Down 18.
However, if it later moves out of
We got super senses for 6.
use perplex, temporarily stops, but it is not lost because it is still showing. So the duration of the perplex is going to be suspended if the character remains. It doesn't make any sense.
Charge.
This is so. A special power says perplex, but only if occupying water terrain. When the character uses this perplex, it must be in water terrain. However, if it later moves out of water terrain, the character no longer has the ability to use perplex, so the effect temporarily stops. But it is not lost because it is still showing on that dial. So the duration of that perplex is only suspended. If the character later moves back into water, perplex effect resumes until the duration expires normally. So that seems to imply that if they use perplex and move out of water, then perplex isn't in effect anymore.
Yeah.
Which is the complete opposite of what.
Right, because this here is saying that once you cast
He
it,
hadn't had his action
it's,
token. I was going to call
What
it.
page is that on?
I'm on 28, part 15, power and ability, use and durations.
Some effects persist even after
That's
an
still,
action
yeah,
or
the fact
triggered
that
effect.
25 to 30.
The length of time these effects last is called the duration. Durations expire when the condition for ending them is met. Durations may also be temporarily
That's why I
suspended.
healed him up.
Durations can be identified in the following ways. An effect that says until is setting up a duration. Until your next turn and other turn duration effects are common, but until this character clears action tokens, or until this character moves, or until you activate this power again, or many other durations are possible. Until is the primary and by far most common. This means this turn, for the rest of the game, or this game, as long as a condition, as long as is a conditional duration that means until a specified thing changes. For example, a duration that lasts as long as this character is on the map means it lasts until this character is on the map. Any triggered effect that triggers off an attack or move when this character attacks, when this character hits, etc., is assumed to have a duration that expires when the attack resolves. Triggered effects. This is really complicated.
As an object during that attack.
An effect that says when this character moves.
Super Omen over there. Yep.
Two distinct but related things can happen to stop effects from being used.
Okay, lost. An effect being lost can happen in two ways. First, if the game element using the effect is KO'd.
Okay.
They finally explicitly said it.
So, stopping the effect. Power or abilities that are lost or can't be used, can't be activated, have any effects triggered, have their passive effects applied. Okay. If that power or ability doesn't have a duration, all effects of that power and abilities immediately end. Okay. When a power or ability is lost or can't be used, any currently resolving actions or triggered effects resolve normally.
Wait, so now they just totally switched it back again, didn't they?
Well, hang on.
If you're very unlucky, they're supposed to.
No, it's saying if it doesn't have a duration, it ends immediately.
All right.
So that means that. So,
Perplex does have a duration.
okay. So tokens given to lost effect. An effect with a duration is affected differently if it's lost versus can't be used. When an effect with a duration is lost, the duration expires immediately, and so the effect ends immediately.
Okay.
So that explicitly says that when a figure with using a power that has a duration is lost, it ends immediately.
So where was that on there? Or is
So
that
right at the bottom, right further down on that page, the twin rules of duration. So it says the effects of duration is affected differently if it's lost versus can't be used. Then it says when an effect with a duration can't be used, the duration is suspended but does not expire. The effect temporarily can't be used, but if the character later can use that effect again before its duration has naturally expired, the effect continues as if it's never been interrupted. So
So you go up here and it's lost if it's KO'd, and
right,
down
and
here
then it says if it's lost, it immediately ends. Okay, so the perplex is gone. So by the way, guys, if Heroclix players, if an effect that has a duration, such as perplex, is lost, okay, the figure's KO'd, then that effect ends immediately. All right, so 12. That's can't use, so the effect continues. All right, so 12 on a 19.
Yes.
For
No, if they get if
4
you're-
damage.
all effects, unless it says even if this power is lost.
So then,
Because if the power is lost, it's gone.
well, he's with it too.
How many points is he?
So I should have done the one more to
He's
damage.
80. And what click? He's on top click.
He's on top click.
You know what? I'm gonna power action this guy to give him another +1 damage.
Except for, but I wasn't sure I could hit that 8 either.
All right, so 12 and a 19.
Problems on it, but it was a 10.
Statistical.
It is.
I don't have anything. Props. Back it up.
Especially for 5 points.
That'll hit
All right. For
I
how
was
many?
actually one of the
for
first
5.
5. No penetrating or anything. Oh,
I
I can't.
outwitted your
You did.
invincible.
You did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is still alive.
Are you?
I am not.
He made enough that
Ooh.
wiped out all of those tokens that I had to wade through.
That is some bull cocky.
Because I outwitted the special perplex.
And he's on regen.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's the end of the.
Oh, that's true. All right, he's gonna try to sidestep breakaway.
I love him. And he's a robot.
Oh, can I reach him?
He's a ruler, a robot.
The future and cosmos. So 12 on a 19.
And if you're playing
Two.
him at 500 or 800, you guys multi-attack.
6.
And he's
All
got
right, sidestep breakaway.
targeting heroes.
I got nothing.
Is it really
All right,
lucky
just gonna
when
punch him.
You're
Okay.
dealing with Colossal, but
Okay.
the longest last action he can never see Italian and shoot another Colossal.
It's not last action. It's last round.
I'm glad I didn't roll those.
Yeah. I mean,
So you said time of the round?
yeah. So then you played at the end of player 2's turn.
I know. It's the end. It's like the longest end of round like I've ever seen.
Well, there's all these new rules.
Right.
I
And
know.
we spent 5 minutes trying to figure out what flags.
Yeah.
That's awful.
I can't. All right.
Does anyone have an extra die I can borrow?
Yeah.
You're.
All of mine, thank you.
Okay.
I'll take the black one.
All right.
I appreciate it, Billy.
Did I make him? I did make him. He would
I'm just guessing
All right.
based on everything else. What do you want?
Shoot, I forgot he was thought I had this, but now I have to get 120 points with one guy.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm parting with.
I don't see that happening.
You probably don't. You guys got
Oh, wait, how many? So you have. So I KO'd 10.
He's 60 because even though you KO'd him, you get all the 60 points, even though they're still sitting on the board. Yeah, so they're still on the board.
Do you have another weapon you can throw in?
Right, because you didn't get any points for KOing them. You got all the points for KOing him, which means I need 120 points.
So how many points is Frankenstein?
They're both 30.
Both 30. So I scored 120.
Right, and I scored 15, so I need 105.
So you need 105, and I have nothing. The only thing that's
Even
even close is that.
Yep.
I mean, he's 90. He's 100.
It is when they have fighting shots.
I mean, you'd have to get him and somebody else.
Yeah. The old energy explosion rules, I'd stand a chance, but now
Like imagine hitting
so
them,
much.
Yeah.
and you have plasticity, and
All right, so
like Shazam, right? Because doesn't he have? Then in that case, give the plastic
You
man.
could. You can't even quake me off because I'm in. Because
You don't have the plastic man from.
all right.
You don't need Casey plastic man. Just the one from which one?
wow, and these two are the weakest. Oh no.
Whichever's one.
Oh no, he's top. He's.
I didn't get anything.
Oh no, he's on top dial.
Yeah, I was gonna try to go for him with this.
Go back and buy more.
Yeah, for a total of 7 and hope for the best. But now
Oh, I'm pretty sure 7.
that's what I kind of figured. But now I gotta try to get that down,
Remember different factories.
and that's my only hope.
And that's gonna. I mean, not that it's gonna. 1, 2, 3. Ah! You'd have to get him out of the way. If that's even if you.
Before I do that, let's make sure there's nothing I need off of here.
No, they're all Avengers.
Well, either way, would be all this card. She can copy this.
She can copy other ones.
She can copy. Oh, Captain America. He's the Captain America. If he was the blue one, then yeah. She can copy any keyboard Captain America has. That's why I thought.
And if I could only pick 3 powers, if the right power was over here.
Although I don't remember Thor does ever actually.
What would you need?
I need hypersonic, super strength, and exploit.
You can't exploit with an object.
You know, Gene Foster.
Well, it says, I looked this up, it says, let's see,
Because it was different.
where's exploit? Make a close attack. An object attack says, make a close attack.
Right. So each one is triggered by a close action.
Oh, close. No, I missed the close.
Yeah,
You're right.
close.
You're right.
So you can't.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. So what was that again? That was imperv.
That is imperv. 18 imperv.
Okay.
Because, you know, they're having a Jewish wedding. And that means they have to do a whole bunch of different
That was the most obnoxious game of life.
There was one thing. Now that the game was out, really that you would figure out what we're at and go eating. And it doesn't have any action. That was free for cost.
Yeah, but I can't attack lower cost characters.
Once we hit time, it's every end of second turn, second player's turn. That's what we got.
Don't you know, Rebecca?
That's one of the.
So here at Kerwin's Game Store, we actually go to the end of player 2's turn, once time is called. The ROC adopted that rule, and we just think it's more fair that each player gets equal number of turns. So Eric is currently trying to figure out how he can score enough points to beat me, but I don't know if he can. So I'm crossing my fingers that he doesn't like, you know,
Swap it to that one.
he doesn't like figure out some way to quake.
Yeah, I keep.
Say like German or like.
Okay. That's mark 2. Yeah, it's tough to see, but yeah.
It's a big giant donut.
Yeah. Okay, so
No, it wasn't.
Here,
I mean, for no particular reason, I'm going to go ahead and take the stealth from the range just because so then move him out
well, I
of the
don't
way.
spread my teams on the internet.
Doesn't matter whether he's out
Right, but I hear the story. Really? Really?
All right, so I'm
Well, we
going
didn't
to
have
Can't-
people for an actual tournament last.
free action. He's not beginning of the turn.
Oh, it's free action to choose to.
For Goblin King, it's free action. Yeah, free action. So I have to pick his at the beginning of the turn. His is a free action.
They may have errated that.
No, they made it so that if it's less than top dial, in fact, I have it right here. I'd like to look at it. If you're less than top dial,
Let me see it. But keep going.
Jesus. 45 to 0.
Why I doubted you wouldn't have this, I don't know why.
There's a lot to do there.
Oh, until your next turn. Right.
Right,
I knew
that's
they
how they did it.
I knew they changed something.
All right, so I'm going to pick Perplex and Pen Size, Perplex up my damage, and that's the best I can do. So it's a 12 on a 18, and 18 for a crit hit. 18 that hits for 6.
For 6?
For 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not even the last click.
Didn't think so. Did not think so.
But, hold on.
I'm not lying, that was the last guy I had.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 more.
5 to get to his last click, which would then explode and blow up. So you would have had to deal 5 more damage.
Alright, I don't feel so bad given that it was completely impossible. If I had just not remembered that he was I groaned when I saw that. Wait a minute, because I had it all planned. I was taking he was going down. and-
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of I can't finish video. You think I can start?
He was going to try to go handful and you know, there's just every second dragon card.
This team actually turned out to be okay. I mean, it's got some fun stuff.
I mean, I don't know what I don't know if he was like sure that he's dead. I was like, any second to name
It's just that, like, the fact that I finally hit the movie. Going in with 2-week notice and
Why would you do that when everybody's life is so terrible right now?
I'm going to go to soon. I'm going to fix Cliff for Francis.
Well, that's fun.
Because you want, I want.
How'd you guys do?
I squeaked it out. He couldn't. He paid 60 points for the Carnage, so he could have all the extra things. But the very first thing I did was I drove the Punisher van up, hopped out, grabbed a rocket launcher, blew up Carnage, and did 3 damage to everybody around him. And then I just drove up and shot a couple of other guys, and then because I KO'd Carnage, I got the full 60 points, even though all of his symbiotes are still on the map. So I ended up killing 120 points, and all he had KO'd was my 15-point Serpent Punisher, and then the last round, he just couldn't KO enough points, so he tried to go after the van, and he did 6 damage to the van, and still needed 5 more damage to KO it.
It just felt right.
Well, no.
Well, that sounds like it was a good game.
It was fun.
She was already having to go.
We had some rules.
Some rules, and John was 5 minutes from that.
That's
literally it.
I literally could not roll over a 5
It was
for a
economically
majority of the
feasible
game.
because I wasn't having to pay
I got a couple
gas.
yesterday. And
We
anything
were
that I
having
did
to
hit
figure
was
out
like,
extra rides for her and all
That
that.
5 still stuck
No,
to single
I
dice.
work like
So we actually did Super Cindy, still at 2 dice.
So this morning I put in an application at Heroclix.
That Malik is giving everyone.
Right after she did that, I put an application in online.
Billy and Francisco?
I scored 25, he scored 30.
Johnny and Alberto?
I got 45.
But if I do it tomorrow, tomorrow.
Wow,
The
such low
21st,
scoring
would be a
leads.
Thursday.
Yeah.
The 22nd is the fall ball, and she needs all hands on deck for that.
That's a shame.
I guess you'll be dropped in the fall below on that
could have
one.
went to a bakery shop.
That's why I'm like, I'm still tempted on just going in tomorrow.
If you roll a 5 immediately, just throw away those.
I also still.
All right, round 2. Cliff and Tony,
PTO.
Alberto and Francisco, Billy and Eric, Johnny, you have the bye.
Let me hit the bathroom then. I was expecting to hit the
It's not the fourth team he's gonna get.
What's the other side look like? Shiny.
You know.
So what do you get? Half your points in the bottom?
Yeah, so so Cliff scored 250 points.
Yeah.
I was the second highest with 120.
And we actually had to earn the 120.
Tonight.
Is that happening again?
Yeah. It's not the third round. If it was the third round, it'd be something fishy there.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing fishy about it. The computer just hates you.
John, with this round, if you don't
Mind if I
find
start
find me, so we can talk things.
Talk things.
Hey everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Cliff and I. Your camera's over here. That's your camera.
Tony and I are going to be at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center this Sunday for the Hudson Valley Comic Book Expo and Trade Show. The proceeds are going to benefit the Highland Library of Highland, New York, which happens to be the town I live in. And Stuart from the Big Bang Theory is going to be there. And I'm forgetting the other guest immediately because I'm terrible. But I remember where we are and what we're doing. And we hope to be doing a live feed from there. But if not, we're definitely going to have like super cool content for you from the event. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And I know Tony is, even though he's on the other side of the room now. So please come out and join us and support the event. And, you know, if you can't make it, you know, just send love. And maybe we'll have something fun to bring back to share with our viewers. You have anything else to comment, Tony?
No, I'm really excited. Hopefully we'll be able to do a live show.
Yes.
We're still waiting to hear back, although I did get an email today, so I'll check that out. Keep looking at our Twitters and the Kerwin's Facebook page for updates on what we'll be doing while we're there. In the very least, get a ticket, come and stop by the Kerwin's booth, try out some of our games. We're going to be demoing a lot of games. You can meet some of the staff for the new Poughkeepsie store that's opening up in the Galleria in Poughkeepsie, and have a good time and see lots of cool geeky stuff.
There's so much Punisher.
I realized halfway through my game that after I popped the Punisher out to do something, I could then put a new Punisher in the van.
Yeah, I don't like.
You are awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Spiders? Yeah. The actual cards.
You've used this. You used this in another season, didn't you?
I did.
But spiders.
Spiders, yeah. I have spiders. I can bring
Did it serve you better than it served me?
Yeah, but it was mostly because we were rule stumbling for some of the time. So I do have a +5. I do have a +5 from team.
I have a +4.
I have a +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a +6.
Where is I'm missing a character. Aha, Jessica.
Alright, +6. 7, 13.
Well, dang. All right.
Yep.
So, I won. Oh my goodness.
4. Oh yes, 15.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right on.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Given that.
I should go get one. This is so exciting. I never win that roll. I never win that roll. Look at a bridge. That goes too far.
Be courteous.
I think I took it with me the other day.
I was waiting to put my objects out. You're placing on character.
Aha, I do have one from the other day. All right.
Well, I think you place objects and then characters.
No, it's player 1 places all their characters, player 2 places all their characters, player 1 places all their objects,
Oh, they
player 2
changed
places
that
all
up.
their objects.
I'm on map
Now
roll.
you place all your
I
objects.
can't remember the last time I won a map roll.
That takes a flip.
I'm so happy. I can't remember last time I won a math roll.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
I also have this Serpent Punisher.
Horrible. I start with 3 plot points on Thor. And he's possessed by Brainiac and he has supreme intelligence. You know, no big deal.
No big deal. No biggie. No big what.
And Carnage is just a reteller.
60-point reteller.
All right, you guys set?
Yeah. It cost me the game. Yeah. I would have been able to knock out his pressures and win the game. And these did basically.
Both you guys set over there?
Yep.
No, you get to activate that.
All right, Heroclix players, round 2, 45 minutes starts now. Good luck. Good luck, sir.
Good luck.
He's gonna need it.
We'll see.
If you hadn't blown up my land, I could have countered that.
He took 12 points. That's kind of funny.
Who is Supreme Intelligence on?
Thor.
And who is Brainiac on?
Thor.
Okay.
Those 4 trade.
They're fun.
Those 4 carry other souls.
19 invincible.
Oh, it's his speed value.
Yep.
The speed.
He's delicious.
Okay.
He doesn't even have a hammer.
I'm So he doesn't have phasing teleport. He just has improved movement. Ignores.
It's a toughie.
Cool. Well, I think. I wonder why they did that.
I'm going to TK this guy out 7, because Thor's range is 7. I'm going to sidestep Thor into this hindering space, because I have Supreme Intelligence sidestep.
Reaction, shape change, and.
I'm going to freely move up Thordis.
Did they change TK to a minimum of 6?
Yes, they did.
Well, it used to be 8, didn't it?
Correct.
Stealth and plus range.
But it also used to be that all 3 spots had to see each other.
Oh, and that's not the case now?
That is no longer the case.
Oh.
I love that. I love that your brain is like looking for and processing all the nuggets. It's so great.
No, it's just, it says that each square has to be within range and line of fire.
Of the person with TK.
No. It says place one target single base character
Yes.
within range and line of fire. So that's your character and the character you're moving. Then it says into another square within range and line of fire. That's from the character who's using TK. And then it
Yes.
says It says that square must be within 6 squares in line of fire from the target's current square, which is the target of the TK. That's a triangle.
Right, but explicitly they had to see each other. Now the only person who has to see the positions is the TKer.
No.
Yes.
It just said that square must, in other words, the square that you're going into must be within 6 squares in line of fire from the target's current square, which is the square of the person you're moving, not the character that's doing the TK.
6 squares in range and line of fire
of the target square. The target is the one you're moving.
Okay, that's fine, but it's still definitely different than what it was. I just can't remember how, because that's not who I am. I just read all the rulings and people flipping out. Oh, we moved this guy from this side of the map to this side of the map because the rules have changed. Great. I'm happy for them, and that's it. You know. I just try, I try to suck what little enjoyment I still can out of this game.
Oh.
Alright.
Free action, I'm going to...
Actions, 2 actions.
Energy shield and counter reflex.
I think it will move Jessica up just in case. And pass to you, sir. And I will click at the end of my turn.
Power action from the pilot of the vehicle.
Oh no, that's no, that's only for his full play, not for his small one. That's why you're able to. No, that's why they. When I played in, I was going to try to move like that. Okay, I'll do that. Oh no, you can't.
Wow. You guys are putting me in a position. I pick favorites here.
I helped you, Aaron.
I know you helped me. I know you helped me. The control player is afraid of...
I'm going to move the van carrying this punishment.
But it will basically incapacitate. Within 4 squares. No release of the slot. And you increase it as well. Including all opposing characters within 4 squares of the start.
Here.
You should show our viewers which Punisher is in the van.
It's an attack.
It's the Whiz Kids. It's the one that came with the van.
Okay.
Is the one that's in the van.
Very nice, very nice.
I like him in the van because he has sidestep. So when the van power actions to drop a weapon, he can go out, pick it up, and then sidestep over. So with the sniper rifle, that gives him a range of 10 after the sidestep. So that's like 12 from the van. I mean, it's pretty good. Alright, so that's 2 actions. Sidestep with the Serpent Punisher.
They don't have plasticity.
Iron Punisher is going to carry Punisher Shield. No, he's going to carry Punisher Squad.
You're at 13. What are you at? Okay. Tell you what, we're doing this. The elemental and work right back.
3. But you never exploit during hypersonic.
Gonna move Punisher Shield. I'm gonna move, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Serpent Punisher is gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he ignores hindering movement.
Good for him.
Is there any chance it's about?
And pass to you.
Can you read hypersonic to me?
Actually, you wouldn't die right you're at.
Breakaway +2. Power. So power action. Have range. Improved movement. Ignores everything. Carry 0. Move. Then make an attack Then move up to your speed value minus the number of squares just moved.
Okay.
So it's basically the same thing, except you can't carry, and it's just an attack.
Is that range attack a range attack?
A range action?
No, a range attack is the word I'm looking for. When like when I make, so I have half range, but I still am making a range attack while I hypersonic.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you trying to activate something?
I'm trying to activate. Bring the lightning free when Thor Odinson makes his range attack targeting a single character.
But it's a free action, so you can't do it in the middle of hypersonic.
Okay, then. Yeah.
So whenever you see free or close, free or
No,
close,
because I do free to get my +1, right? And then he hypersonics and will hit a single character.
First of all, leadership.
Right, because it's when, not during. I'm doing it before. So when I make a range attack.
Oh, +1. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Wow, he is a planeswalker.
Yeah, he is.
After resolutions, once per turn, he may make a range attack targeting a different opposing character. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So you can do that.
So we're going to give him a +1, which is wonderful.
So he can move, attack, move, resolution, attack.
Yes, it's cool.
Different character.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. He's in stealth.
He's blocked by that thing.
He's got energy shield. All right, so the van is my biggest target.
Oh, he has energy shield, yeah. And the van is 18 invincible.
Sidestep carry.
Hypersonic 9 squares out of my 11. 12 on an 18. That is a 64. Theme prob with the captain, because they're all Avengers. That will hit.
Hits for 4?
Yes.
So 2.
2.
So invincible is reduce by 2, but take no more than 3. So 1, 2.
And I will end my hypersonic 10, 11 here. And then I get a free range attack, correct? Against someone else. Yeah. So 12 on this 19. Woo! Double sixes.
Almost like I counted that distance. I actually didn't, but it's almost like I did.
Okay.
Does he click when you deal damage?
It's at the end of turn if I dealt damage.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay.
The only plus thing about that is that every time it hits the field, they get one.
So Tony, I gave someone an action token for the sake of theme prop. I still can make an action with them. Is that it?
Under the old rules, yes.
But under the new rules,
I don't know.
okay.
Let's find out.
This is awful.
No, this is all part of the process. 32. Must target a character other than itself.
Right.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, he starts with it.
comprehensive rules.
And then choose +1 range and shape change.
I think it's just fair. Like, we just shouldn't even bother with anything that is not the comprehensive rules.
Well, no, but the problem is that the comprehensive rules don't have the original rules in them.
Okay, just
So you have to,
references. Parts of.
it's just additional information.
Double power action to create 2 tokens. Emotions. 18. Running shot full swing.
It does not say. So, yes.
Okay, we're gonna go with that.
And in fact,
That's what I
I
was
believe
looking at.
you can move and then do it again. I mean, like you can move, give them an action and then move.
Or move
All
him
right,
up.
so power. Now this is my charge. All right, 11 on a.
Wait a minute. Where were you?
I
I should have been outside of your charge range.
nope, you shouldn't have, because half of 9 is gonna be 5. It still
Right.
rounds up.
Right,
Right.
but
So
I was 7 squares away.
Maybe you were thinking of someone else.
No, it was him. I specifically counted.
Roll the video back. I
right,
swear I
let's-
counted.
Adam, let's
Oh look!
re-
Oh damn, we're already past it.
+2 to hit.
Adam, can you hear us? Roll it back. Let's see what happened.
10 on an 18. +1 attack.
I swear I was outside.
I think you were super confident that you were blocked off.
No, I specifically because I measured and I knew for a fact I should have been because I counted 5 and then 6 was where you could hit and then I moved my dice one more over knowing that was 7. That seems right. Good.
Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to hit him. I'm trying to hit the van.
That's fine.
I just want to be there to be annoying.
Right, but I specifically anyway.
I know you were.
I didn't want you to hit the van. Are you quaking or just regular attacking?
No, just regular. It's
All
more
right, I
fun.
do have impervious
Why?
because you knocked me onto impervious.
No, that's what you have now.
Yes.
Oh, that
I went from
sucks.
invincible to impervious. That's a normal. That's a normal transition.
Not for a van. All right. Yeah. All right, clear my ladies and pass to you. And then I get to click this 3 times. And I now have precision strike and probability control.
Shall I Molotov cocktail you?
Sidestep. Yeah. No, that. And then sidestep.
I gotta remember Brainiac next turn. God, this camera's so not flattering.
It's just the angle. Don't worry about it. All right, I'm going to. The van is going to sidestep carry. So 1, 2.
You don't have to
carry
roll
this
to break
guy.
away from me, you monstrous vehicle, you! Monstrous!
Monstrous. Actually, I'm going to sidestep over here.
How
Carry
dare
this
you.
guy to here. I should flamethrower you.
I got a flamethrower.
Seems like a good idea. Knock you off. Matters, but, I should just go for it. What's her movement?
It is charge and flurry and sidestep.
Charge, flurry, and sidestep.
Yep.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can hit that guy. That's fine.
Not
invincible. Good.
Incapacitate. Where's the target?
Hey, these are mighty Avengers from across the multiverse. Okay? With the help of Brainiac and Supreme Intelligence, they will get hold of Asgard and the Infinity Gems.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna power action the van.
So Lindsay, who works here, is running a Marvel vs. Capcom tournament on the 19th, I think. Right? And so I got her all hyped up on the trailer for the new game.
Oh, really?
Because when she walked in, she just had no idea what I was talking about. Because I was like, because Carol Danvers and Ryu got to team up and take down Ultron. And she's like, huh? She's like, who's Carol Danvers? I'm like, Captain Marvel from Marvel vs. Capcom. You have to go see this. So anyhow, on her break, she watched the trailer. And she's like, oh, God, Cliff, he was right. She's like, this trailer's amazing.
+1 range and outwit.
That's not.
The Bliss of Frost. Only when it gets to distortion spell. That's why.
All right. I'm gonna give it a free action.
If you were driving that,
I'll place him there instead.
Really?
running shot pulse one.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Yep. Profit. He's got natural problem now.
Is somebody using prob more than once per turn?
No.
Okay.
It's just the difference between whether it's a natural prop that's on the dial or the goblin picked prop.
Yeah, we're not using multiples. It was just he got natural problem.
Gotcha.
It's like which source is he getting it from?
That's good judging though, right there.
Well, he said now he's got natural prob. I'm like, did he not have it earlier in the turn and use it already?
That can happen sometimes.
Yes, but you can't use prob more than once per turn.
Yeah.
All
He
right.
didn't have it, but he didn't use it.
So I'm gonna power action him to shield team ability +1 his damage.
Yep, totally illegal. Yep.
I'm gonna free action replace his range, damage, and attack values from the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna free action to take his damage power of range combat expert.
Mm-hmm. This just feels like way too many things you could take from your pilots.
Seems legit.
It does not. Absolutely.
I'm going to let me make sure I'm doing this correctly. I'm going to range combat expert. Where's my powers and abilities card? I'm gonna range combat expert. Power action. Okay, range attack targeting a single character. All right. So I'm going to range combat expert. So I'm at an 11. So an 11 and an 18. So I'm going to do
1 and 1. Okay. Don't believe me.
So 2, 3, 4. Yes, 1 and 1. So it'll be a 12 for 4 damage.
Which I will take 2. Got it.
I'm going to choose output.
And that is a.
I'm going to colossal retail. Against your colossal.
Invulnerability. Probably should have attacked with him first, but whatever.
+1 range.
I'm going to power action him to shield team ability on Iron Punisher.
And that targets him.
And he's going to running shot, penetrate second blast. 12 on a 17.
The
fourth? Hits for 4 straight.
You can profit. At least it isn't a crit hit. Well, it's a crit hit, doesn't deal extra.
Really? What's his damage power?
Give him power action, choose a friendly character within range and line of fire. All opposing characters adjacent to the chosen character are knocked back 2 squares from the chosen character's square. If the chosen character is named Thor, after action is resolved, that character can make an attack.
Your free action. Oh, okay. I thought that was the damage power.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
Done?
Let's attack.
Okay.
12 on an 18.
Yep.
Move.
Hits for 3.
Base you, so you can't support it. You only give me.
Oh my god, that took everything. We'll sidestep.
Okay, free action. I'm going to choose poison.
Oh,
And
no.
phasing
We'll stay
teleport?
right there. Stay right there.
Poison?
With the new leadership rules, he will stay right there.
Not anymore. It's just I can't have been moved or placed. Yeah.
Sidestep.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4. Charge 11 on his 17.
Yep.
I forgot 2 very important things.
Ah,
6 and 11 will hit.
17 for
Yep.
4.
Yep.
So 3 after. 2,
3, that's actually 4, 5. It's 4, 6.
Nice.
I'm not swinging at shield like that.
Our buddy Jessica. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Just a move.
Just to move.
Oh, and I tap I can
Sidestep with.
You don't have sidestep.
Oh, right. I can't. Okay. It's precision strike. Yes. Okay. Clear. And pass.
Oh, you didn't
I
know
wish I could make
to do
like
that because
17
I'm
attacks on
black.
somebody like you can.
You made 2 attacks with with Thor last turn.
I know, but then he was like totally tapped out.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You know? What's he supposed to do with precision strike, probability control, psychic blast,
Which you forgot to
outwit?
choose.
I know, which is why I was hating myself.
So what's her defense power?
Her defense power is super senses and toughness.
Super senses and toughness, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
We can't attack anybody. He's just my mobile output.
All right. He's gonna try to punch her. Precision strike. 12 and a 17.
I love my Solaris.
It's for so super senses -1 to your roll.
I actually traded.
Did I take 2 out of 3?
Him in a close. That was when I traded the Nightwing ID card. I had a whole bunch of stuff. All I had to do was send that.
Oh, look, it's all fun. Any other shot?
Okay, my turn. Choose sidestep from Brainiac. I'm going to do Bring the Lightning for my free action.
Is that the same one you did before?
Yes. So why not make a range attack? It's going to be great. Sidestep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
I'm
actually, there's really only 2 choices.
No.
Unless you fly way over here.
We're gonna perplex up Thordis's attack to a 12. 12 on an 18 on Iron Punisher. That hits. You'll take 2 to pass. And it flurry, so second attack. 12 on a 17. 6 and 12 will hit for another 2. Hypersonic here, target Iron Punisher, 12 on your 17. Hits for 4, you'll take 3 to pass. And second attack for free against the van. 12
So
against.
you're ending your movement.
I'm ending my movement there.
12 out of an 18 in purpose.
I have precision strike over here.
Reaction, plasticity, and poison.
Hits.
Poison. I
Ah!
have to trigger it still.
So that'll reduce it by 2.
Yep.
So I'll take 2.
He's gonna colossal retail on that.
That was my free. Good.
Oh no, death miss.
Good.
Yeah. My mind said you hit and just didn't deal damage. So you didn't roll high enough to actually hit. No, wait.
I had to go 12.
But
Oh, you're right.
oh no, you have to damage. You have to damage.
For what?
Colossal retail. You have to attack Solaris or damage it.
I didn't attack Solaris. Didn't come close to damaging him.
So out with
I'm gonna push Jessica. 10 on a 17 against that Punisher.
He's going to try to break away.
That is enough for 2.
Got it? Because I had plasticity. I took plasticity and poison.
There's her willpower. Okay, and
I'm going to stay right there.
I like where I am over here. I already chose sidestep. Okay, past you, sir.
Charge! 10 on 16. Hit. Swing it away.
Oh, that is great.
Close combat expert. Plus 2 to hit. 12 on a 16. Yeah. You also get your shape change. So, no attack, no hit.
Impervious reduces by 2.
He's going to take the shot, close combat expert. Hit. Yeah, it's fine.
I just realized that. I gotta give credit everything to unleash that power.
Running shot. Shape change.
Alright,
Yep. Got him. And that's my 5. Clear?
Yeah, that's the other one. There's 2 X spots.
and then a 4.
Thor Odinson.
Thor Odinson.
Plasticity.
He's quite remarkable for 175.
Yep, just washes.
You're like, mm-hmm.
You get +2 and I give you -2.
Although Jane has proven herself quite formidable
All right.
with her classic uniform.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to power action shield
Mm-hmm.
on the van.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna free action replace values.
Yep.
Free action replace damage power. We're gonna range combat expert. Let's see, you're an 18, and I'm an 11. I'm gonna go 2 to damage.
Okay.
So it would be 5 damage.
If he flew, I would have got it.
All right, 11 on an 18. Hits for 5, so
Prob with Thor.
Does he have regular prob or
Regular prob. Yeah.
That's not good.
I thought you could only perplex monsters.
In Asgard, only I command the lightning.
He's gonna break away running shot.
Oh, oh, you took perplex from that. Okay.
2,
Yeah. Yeah.
3, 4.
Defense and the perplex up his attack.
He gets a +1 attack and a +1 damage on characters 100 points or more.
Okay.
So 10 for 3.
Neither of us had
10 and
problems.
18.
So.
Oh, you lucky. So it's 3 damage?
1 after.
1 after. Why only 1 after?
Because invincible reduces by 2.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Nope.
Invincible. Reduce damage taken by 2. Can reduce penetrating damage. Takes a maximum of 3 damage.
I got that backwards. Okay, so I took 1. Sorry. Okay.
It's weird. They changed it.
Yeah. Well, now I just have regular flurry. It's not the same.
Not the same. Not the same. Range combat expert.
Mm-hmm.
Two to damage.
I lost a lot of those times. That's good. That's up there.
And not the double one.
My turn?
Yeah.
Beginning of turn, I will choose Outwit.
I saw the one on
I will do a +1 for Bring the Lightning. I am going to... I'm going to Outwit the Energy Shield on this gentleman.
Is that from Brainiac?
No, wait, maybe I don't want to. Yeah, the Outwit's from Brainiac. I'm going to Outwit the Invulnerability over here. So it's going to be 12 and a 17 for my range attack.
You do your thing.
Yes, I did. That's 4 straights. My free attack will be on this gentleman, so it's going to be 12 and an 18.
12 on a... Oh, you didn't have
I didn't. I outwitted the other one. And that will hit for 4, which will get rid of him. Do I want to click 3 times?
Click 3 times.
I mean, would it be cool if I actually got him on the board?
No. No. No, it wouldn't.
All right, I'll keep the probability then. I will clear the 2 ladies. And I'll pass to you, sir.
with his regen. Force blast. Knock the dock into the wall. For another one. He's going to running shot and use an object attack. 2. Going near. Going near.
That's right.
Gives me +3 to attack and the damage is penetrating.
Alright. Free action values. Free action power. Damage power. And then range combat expert, 2 to damage. So 11
On an 18.
11 on an 18.
Attack rolls can't be rerolled.
11 on an 18. That's brutal, man.
Actually, no. It's
It's getting brutal.
This is not done direct. If it's not on the direct, they yeah. Knockback. A hitting B, B would go on.
Range combat expert 101.
But you've got vulnerable.
10 on 19.
And turn here.
I'll hit you with the chicken leg first. That would be funny if it hit no power where it's like you can make 2 attacks. The first one has force blast, and the second one has the light.
Puncher. 11 on a 17.
And
2? Oh, just enough.
your turn.
I'm guessing you do. Do you have the aluminum or adamantine?
What is that? Is that toughness?
Toughness, yeah. 16 toughness.
No, he force blasted. He plastered the dock on the wall.
I'm going to choose Outwit again from Brainiac. That's gonna. We're going to outwit your toughness. Jane's damage power is now Thordis has a range value of 6. So 10 and a 16 for 3. Double 6s. For 4.
1, 4. Stop, click.
Yep. And you get to explode out your Punisher.
Explodey. Alright, so Punisher is going to be placed within 4.
I will prop that.
Oh, so it's like a
This is going to suck.
You'll prop that.
Oh. Sorry.
You gotta roll the blades.
Alright, stop. When this comes revealed, place a pilot adjacent or the pilot's name Punisher placed within 4 squares. Then deal 3 damage to all characters within 3 squares of the Punisher van. And destroy all blocking.
Invulnerable.
Deal 3 damage.
Okay, so Thor and Jane each take 1.
Yeah. This is 1, 2. And then KO the Punisher van. So then an Ultra Heavy comes out? Oh no, there's no such thing as Ultra Heavy anymore. It's a heavy object.
Does it say standard heavy? Okay. That was wise to them, I guess.
In the Punisher van was an arcade.
Okay.
I'm going to take +1 range and a running shot. going to choose poison and pulse wave.
Is she invincible all the way down her dial?
Kind of. So that's it. That's for the band's explosion.
You didn't take poison.
Sidestep,
Yeah. Still not there?
because we knocked her to her movement power again.
Does she have sidestep?
Yeah, sidestep, flurry charge. Okay. And
Going to attempt to sidestep.
yeah, we're gonna clear Thor. I'm past you.
Heroclix players, that's time in the round. Play to the end of player 2's turn. That's the end of my turn, right?
Yep.
I think one? Or do I have to KO her? I'm gonna have to KO her.
You got 175 over here, bud.
That's it?
Yep.
I definitely have to. So you got 125. How? That doesn't make any sense.
What?
How many points?
She's 105. He's 175. There's a 500-point game.
So that's 280?
Yep.
And
25.
oh, you know what? Because you KO'd this.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
I think so.
I would need to kill Thor, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, he's only on click 2.
Only on click 2. Huh?
25.
How much damage do I need to do?
And you got going.
I don't know, but it's going to be a lot.
I use it as an object. It's KO.
Alright.
And now I know it's going to be a lot.
Alright, well, let's try it. Alright.
It's KO.
Outwit Invincible.
Oh.
That's just like if you bring in an ID card to kill off the ID character.
2, 3. So the cross point would be here. So I'm not hindered.
I got Jet and Frankenstein.
Alright. Sidestep breakaway?
No. I'm going to theme prop that.
330.
Stay with me, buddy.
Oh my god!
So I got 170.
Alright.
Avengers theme team!
That's horrible.
90.
That's horrible. Well, I'm definitely not gonna win now.
170. Yeah.
Alright, range combat expert. 2 to damage.
Okay.
9 on an 18. No. Missed by 1. Oh, KO.
Yeah!
So I would have lost anyway.
Yeah!
Running shot. 9 on a 18.
Woo!
Missed again. I'm rolling 8s, but not enough. And punch her. 11 on a.
That was insane.
So Cliff won. So that's going to do it for our show. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for watching us play some HeroClix. Hopefully that was fun for you guys. Again, this Sunday, September 10th, we're going to be at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center for the Ultimate Comic Trade Show and Convention, an expo. Yep. Put on by iHeartMedia. Again, we have a new store opening up in Poughkeepsie. Kerwin's Game Store in Poughkeepsie is going to be at the Galleria, hopefully opening in early October. And we'll be running HeroClix and some other stuff there. So, again, stop by, check out some demos at our booth at the expo. So until next time, I'm Tony Cox.
And I'm Clifford Parmiter.
And you've been watching Read, Watch, Play. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Oh, that'd be finger guns. What am I doing?